This video captures the introductory comments to the jury of Judge Arthur J. Franza, born December 3, 1922, died March 2, 1999, as made to a prospective jury in a civil trial. Arthur J. Franza was a circuit court judge in Broward County, Florida, whose active and retired duty status spanned the 1960s, 70s, 80s, and 90s. Judge Franza's comments provide insight into and appreciation of your role as jurors.
Well, you received a subpoena a couple of weeks ago or whenever, and I'm sure when you received it you were so full of joy and enthusiasm you couldn't wait to get here. And look at your smiling faces, it must be true. At any rate, you arrived here, I presume, at 8 o'clock this morning. You were on time, I'm sure, which meant that you had to get up 5:30, 6 o'clock. And those of you with the great, hairdos who have to blow dry your hair, you probably got up at 4:30 or 5. And it is now 1:45. What took you so long? Where have you been? You know why you're here. You're here because of our Constitution, which I call a once upon a mankind kind of doctrine. It's the first time that we know of that people got together, sat down, and figured out how they would be governed. And one of those tenets of that Constitution is that everybody has a right of access to the court system, plaintiffs and defendants. And they have a right to a jury of their peers. That's you, not me. A jury of their peers. And as you can see, this morning, many of you were called. We have 34 courtrooms in this courthouse. We have hundreds of courtrooms across the state and thousands across the country with people like you doing what you're doing today or tomorrow or whenever this case ends. And that is resolving disputes between people and people, people and companies, people and government, government and government, that they can't resolve themselves. And rather than go outside and, shoot it out or fight it out, they come in court, a place of reason, a place of civility, where people like you use your common sense, your life experiences, your dedication to the facts of the case as you hear it, and your application of the law, as I instruct you the law is. And you make a decision. And we live by it. The system lives with it. Sometimes there's aberrations. You can't help it. This is a human process, and we are not perfect, not any of us. And once in a while, a mistake is made. If it is, if it can be corrected, it'll be corrected. If it can't be, and sometimes it can't be, well, that's the price you have to pay for this kind of a system. And it is the best system that man has evolved. Some people may not like it, but no one has come up with anything better. And you'd be surprised. You're very good at what you do. I've been sitting here now for approximately 33, 34 years. And I've seen thousands of you come and go, and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of verdicts, if not thousands. And you hit the nail on the head almost 99% of the time. You really do. Now, what do we ask you to do? We ask you to search for the truth to the best of your ability and reflect it in your verdict. That's what you're here for. And when you do that, members of the jury, you kind of touch that flag on my right. Maybe even leave a little bit of yourselves there. so that when your children receive it from you, hopefully they receive it in a stronger and more viable condition than when you received it from your mothers and fathers. When you reach your verdict, we accept it. And you know, this week or this month or these 2 months, however long it takes, you're going to be that Constitution that we talk about. You're going to walk it, talk it, breathe it, and act it out. Because you're going to be it. You're the ones that make the decision. Not me, not the attorneys, not the parties. You. Each one of you who are chosen. And it's an awesome responsibility. But you'll have 5 other people in there to work with you, to talk with you, and to guide you here and there. You exchange your views, and you'll be surprised when you get done masticating, if you will, the facts and the law. You do come out, as I said before, with the right decision. So that's what you have to do. The first thing we do, of course, in a trial, in any trial, is the voir dire. Voir dire are 2 French words meaning to see and to speak. Some people also think it means an idiom, or is an idiom, which means the search for the truth, and it may very well be. During that voir dire, I and the attorneys will have an opportunity to question you, touching upon your qualifications to be a juror in this particular case. We're not going to ask you questions to pry or to embarrass you. That's not the purpose. The purpose is to get an impartial, fair jury. And these questions help us to do that. We know full well that, you know, we can ask you questions for 3 days and probably not even scratch the facade of your personality, let alone getting into what really makes you tick. But if you're candid, you'll be surprised we can deduct certain manifestations of your makeup that may make you a good juror or may not make you a good juror. The attorneys have a certain number of peremptory challenges, by which I mean they can challenge you and excuse you and not give a reason, therefore. If you are so challenged or excused, please don't think that your honesty or integrity is being impugned. It is not. It's just their right under the law. But as you know, the voir dire is an attempt by all of us, and we all want this, really, to obtain impartial jurors. Impartial. Well, how do you get to be so impartial all of a sudden? You came here with your likes and dislikes. Some of you are in your 20s, 30s, 40s, whatever. None of you anywhere near where I'm at, but that's okay. Hopefully you'll get there. But you do have your likes and dislikes, your predilections, maybe even your biases or prejudices. And we have to find out about those things, if any there be. And if you don't think you have biases or prejudices, let me give you a couple of examples. I don't know about you, but when I go out for dinner or lunch or whatever and happen to go to a buffet, and I see a bed of those gray-green things, you know, laying on ice, and a half shell, I don't touch them. I don't touch them with your 10-foot pole. And those of you that like them, you don't even eat them. You swallow them, right? What might you get if you bite into one? I don't know. So that's my predilection or bias, if you want to call it, as far as food is concerned. But on a more serious note, depending upon how precocious you were as a child, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old, and you wanted to find out about your religion and your God, I'll wager that you asked your mom and dad, or your reverend, your pastor, your rabbi, your priest, whatever, about your religion and God. And I'll further wager that they told you that your religion and your God was the true religion and the true God. Well, think about that for a moment. If that's so, what are the rest of us doing? What are we doing? The point I'm trying to make is if in the name of God they can teach you prejudice, how can I, in the name of man, say that you be without it? I can't. It's a free country. If you have biases and prejudices, that's your business. With one very large caveat. You can't bring them into the jury room. You've got to leave them outside that door. And you can't do that, you've got to leave them here. You can't bring them into the jury room. Because if you do that, you're not giving one of these folks a fair trial. And that's why you're here. When you walk through those doors, I like to think that you walk into a temple of fairness. That's what this is, a temple of fairness. And who are the keepers? You. All of you. You're the keepers. The jury system is as good as you are. And I told you you're pretty good at it. I know there may be some cases somewhere that you may not agree with. Well, you can change it. You can make it right by doing it right yourselves, right here in this case. Law is nothing more than right or wrong, and I don't have to teach that to you. You know what's right, you know what's wrong, and that's how you'll decide this case. However, when we do start and we swear in the jury, of course, then we get serious. We cross our T's and dot our I's, because this is a serious business between these folks. You know, they're coming to you. As I said before, it's not easy, but you do it well. So I hope if you're chosen as a juror, you'll do just that. And I think you'll like this jury business. I like it. I believe in it. Because I believe in you folks. You've never let me down, and I don't think you're going to let anybody down.